Grass is getting a little long for the first time of the year. You know what that means. We got to get the lawn tractor up and running from hibernation. Can I say that I'm not proud of myself? I sure can. I mean, this sucker was not stored very clean. It's full of grass clippings. I'm not sure if, in my defense, winter was coming too quick and I just wanted to get a tarp on it. But yeah, I mean, usually this is nice when they're all cleaned before you put them away. At least there's no rat's nests. Not that I was expecting any, but yeah. Anyhow, let's get it started, ready for its I don't know, 20th season. So in the theme of not doing things too properly, I just ended up plopping the battery right out of it. It's still dirty. I just put it down on this skid. This is the forklift battery that I took out probably around the same time when I was closing stuff up in the yard. I'm not even sure if I charged this thing or whether or not it was properly charged. Let's take a little look if we got any voltage on it. Oh, 12.6. Looks good to me. Let's give it a try. So I ended up getting this lawn tractor from my brother-in-law, who got it from my father-in-law. So I am technically the third owner, and this thing can honestly be considered the poster child to mechanical neglect. I'm not too sure, you know, even myself, I haven't been taking very good care of it, but it's never let me down. Always had some minor repairs to do that I've done. I think I've done one oil change on it since I've got it. Never changed the hydraulic or the hydrostatic fluid. And I take the battery out of it every year. I mean, it does stay indoors for winter. The battery is always a bit of a mystery and a hassle to get in. Let's give it a try. You take the side cover off and you take this thing off. I might be missing some parts that a complete original tractor might have, but anyhow, so this guy just sort of fits in there, and then it sort of dangles with this strap. So this is the strap over here. And there's a loop down below that I know you got to pull and kind of clip it on, and once you do it, I don't know if you can hear neighbors cutting the grass. He's a bit ahead of me, but anyhow, that'll be me in a few hours, hopefully. Let's see if we can get that strap on. So it just kind of clips in at the top, and space is always an issue. So we basically have to loop this guy underneath, and there's a tab right over here. And you do have a bit of a handle, but you know, maybe I'm just not strong enough or what. But what I like to do is I like to get a set of locking pliers that I can kind of make a bit of a handle extension. Gives me a little bit more power. Let's see if we can get it at the right angle here, like so. Because I don't particularly enjoy this design, but you know, it's what you have to deal with. Overall, it's a good tractor. Battery's a bit of a hassle. I don't know if you can see this. I gotta get closer to the tab so we can really get it in there. Okay, let's try this. Are we on? There we go. Whew. All right, that's good. All right, so we hooked up the negative and positive battery cables. If you notice, the battery, when I installed it, I was the wrong direction. I realized that when my negative cable was not long enough to reach it at the other end over there. So flip that around. And I left these rubber caps off because there's about an 80% chance that I'm gonna have to boost this thing. Is that a bit of foreshadowing? I know this machine well. If you wanna know what this thing is over here, whoops, this is the brother-in-law. That's a good sign here. The battery has some power in it. Brother-in-law, who was the second owner, determined that this contact terminal switch was defective, and he's an electrician, so he used this technique, which is fine, it works. He kind of jumped it right into down here, and that's what activates the electromechanical clutch, and it's directly powered right to the battery, or right to, the key has nothing to do with turning it on or off. So if you forget this guy on, see, I'll click it, click. You see that clutch kind of kicking in right here? You looking at that right here? Look at this. Click, activated, disactivated, or disengaged. So anyhow, I've been dealing with this for the last 7 or 8 years, and never really caused me any issues, but I might want to change that, and I'm not sure if I'm going to spend, I'll say what, 30 bucks, 20, 30 bucks on that switch. I might do something else, but yeah, let's see if this sucker starts. No, let's see if it has gas and oil first. So like I said, only ever changed the oil once on it. I think it was about 2 years ago. And look at that, still nice and honey brown. So oil for right now, at least for getting it started, is fine. Let's go see what our gasoline situation is over here. It's got a plastic tank, so I'd usually just put, yeah, we got some gas in there. How's it smell? Smells fresh. I usually put a whole bunch of stabilizer in it, and I know I did that before getting it going. Let's check out the moment of truth. See if it starts after its hibernation. All right. Clutch. Choke. Gas down to the end. Let's see. What did I tell you? So I'm not getting any action out of this starter. So let's check and see with the multimeter. Yep, I hooked up the negative lead to the battery negative cable, and then we'll go ahead and try to troubleshoot, see if we're getting any positive anywhere. So first things first, let's check and see if we're getting positive right to the battery solenoid, and we are. So the starter's always hooked right up to the positive battery terminal. That's the solenoid. So the solenoid gets activated. It's like a relay. It gets activated by a 12-volt signal coming into here. It clicks it on, and that's what bridges the gap and sends the full 12 volts to the starter to turn over. Let's check and see if we're getting any current over here, because we know we have power there. And if we are, it might be the starter. Put our tester in here, so we're getting a certain amount of voltage. And now let's see if we're not getting any voltage. When I turn the key on, I'm not getting any voltage. So that's good news, because I'd rather it be this than the starter. We got to go a little further down the rabbit hole. So this blue wire goes into this connector, and one of these wires is what sends the signal to this blue one. And we can go ahead and check here, but I'd like to go further back and check and see if I'm getting any current at my key. That way we kind of cut our problem. If we're getting current at the key, we know that the problem's somewhere up to here. But if we're not getting current at the key, I'm not going to waste any time troubleshooting this connector. I'll have to go further and check and see, between the battery and that key, what's going on. So let's check and see what's going on in this whole spaghetti of a mess. I'll put a light on the camera so we can get a little bit better view, and we'll check and see what's going on in there. So I know this is not the best view, but hey, it's what I have. So we're up here in the kind of electrical panel of the machine. This is the reverse side or the back side of the operator control panel. And what we have over here, let's see if I can get to it. This over here is the key switch. And there's two connectors. There's a ground, I'm assuming, or a green wire that's hooked on with this little tab terminal. And then there's a full-on connector over here. And the first thing you want to do when you kind of see this horrible mess of wires, you know that people have been in there playing, you kind of want to check and see if there's just something unplugged, because that would be the easiest fix if there was just a wire that was unplugged. I'm looking around real quick. Here's a fuse. So we got a fuse. That could be an issue. We also seem to have a relay. That could be an issue. And then we have these connectors that this is not supposed to be there, but that's that famous light switch repair. But I mean, we're kind of tied into a couple different wires. Some of them are going off to the key switch, and there is a blue wire up on the key switch. Remember, it was the blue wire that we were worried about. Not too sure if that's oh, look at that, some nice dielectric grease. I remember taking that connector off and giving a little tune-up, I think, last year because we were having starter issues. But that's it. So that came off real nice. So this guy's properly connected. This guy's properly connected. Let's take a look at this fuse over here. And the fuse is blown. You guys see that? Yep. Blown fuse. So that's a 25 amp. Let's go ahead and change that first, and maybe that'll be a really easy fix. So let's change that and see what it does. So we got our brand new 25 amp fuse. Go ahead and put that on. And we'll check and see if that made any difference. Okay, clutch pedal down, and nothing. All right, so with the fuse changed, we're still not getting any power on this wire, but we do hear the relay clicking that we were not getting before. So we're gonna continue diagnosing to check and see whether or not we're getting any power. Okay, so I ended up checking this connector over here, and we weren't getting any 12 volts to here either. So I know that this blue wire is most probably okay. I reconnected that. Now I want to find out if on my key switch, I have continuity from whatever wire is over here that goes down to there. And when I say whatever wires, because I'm not sure, here's a blue wire, it turns into a black wire, and then up here there is a blue wire, no black wire. So there must be another connector somewhere along the way. We'll just do a quick method to figure that out. Put my multimeter, one of my probes over here, set the gauge to continuity, make it beep, check and see that the meter's working. Oh yeah. And then go ahead and test each one of these pins. Okay, nothing here, nothing here, nothing here, nothing here, whoops, nothing here. So we do not have continuity between that blue wire and whatever wire it comes up into here. So there is an issue breaking the circuit somewhere along here. All right, the quest continues to get this guy going. Okay, made a little mistake there. The blue wire here hooks up to the orange wire, doesn't change anything, doesn't actually have any continuity. And then I remembered something. There are some safeties on this guy, and a lot of times in these things, you know, it's the safety mechanisms that might give you some starting issues. So I know that you have to press on this brake/clutch pedal in order to activate, I guess, the starter circuit. So I did pull on it, I did try, but let's check and see. There must be a micro switch or something on this guy. There's also a safety measure on the seat that has been disconnected far before I ever got my hands on this thing. So, you know, I'm going to assume that this is okay, but we'll check the pedal first, and if that doesn't do it, we'll check and just make sure that this thing is not what's preventing us from starting, because most of the time you have to be sitting on the mower at least to keep the engine running, or to keep the blades turning. I mean, I'm not sure how that guy's wired in because I never actually used it. Let's check and see what this switch is on that brake pedal. All right, so I have to admit, I did look for the switch on this brake pedal, and I didn't find it. I didn't take off any guards, but I couldn't find it easily just by looking underneath, so I cheated. I checked online, and I found a wiring diagram that for a similar model that kind of gave me an indication that from the key switch, it goes off to the PTO activation knob that we know on this one doesn't work. It's been bypassed by this old guy. And then from there, it goes off to a normally open foot switch. So there is one. So what I did was I ended up probing around. Now you can see I'm connected still continuity for the starter solenoid wire. There's nothing. When I push my foot down over here and I check again, here we go, we found it. It's this orange and white wire over here, and we know that that switch works. So from there, we know that there's got to be a bridge to send power from one of these other terminals over to this one, and it's got to come from the key switch. Now, I'm not sure when I look at the key switch which pin does what. So in order to figure out which wire is coming from the key switch to the starter, I figured I'd try to find the power wire to the key switch. So I ended up putting my multimeter on voltage. I ground one of my probes onto the battery, and I go ahead and I check and see, whoops. Now I go ahead and I check and see which one. Nothing, nothing. Oh, this one's got voltage and nothing. So we have voltage coming from the battery on the red/white wire. So the pin corresponding to this red/white wire is this one right over here. So with the multimeter set back to continuity, we're going to go ahead and put a probe on that one. Good. Now we can go ahead and check different terminals. Oh, so this one's got continuity with the key. What's the key on? Because the key was on. This is off. We go to lights, accessories, start, and it cuts out. So this does lights, accessories, and start. This one over here, up on top. Lights, accessories, start. So we got start. I'm doing the start action here. So I think this is the one. It's this top one. Let's check and see the other ones just for fun. Whoops. So this is off, lights, accessories, start, nothing. And can we fit our fingers, our chubby little fingers back here? Get the last one. So this is off, lights, accessory, or not accessory, on. I'd say, was I saying accessory the whole time? Accessory meant on, so lights on and start. So it's this top one over here. Go back to our trusty terminal, and we can see that it's this top one. That's the orange and black wire. So the start signal, it sends 12 volts through the red. When you go on the start, when you turn your key to start, it ends up sending it through the orange and black wire and over to this PTO switch. We'll follow that orange and black. Where are we now? This guy over here. So it's the one right next to this over here. Theoretically, if I was to put a jumper between these two, I should bypass this PTO switch. That's what we're going to do. Now, through the magic of television, the jumper has appeared instantaneously. We go ahead and jump these two over here. So we're wired back up down here to the blue wire. This is where we want to see 12 volts. Multimeter is back on voltage. and we're grounded on the battery. We bypassed our PTO switch, reconnected our key switch, and let's see, moment of truth, 12 volts. So I guess we can say that this defective PTO switch that I got away with for several years, I guess it was defective in terms of, you know, the continuity to go ahead and activate that electromechanical clutch, but it looks like it failed in terms of the start circuit. So we went ahead and fixed that. Let's try giving this guy a start once again without the booster pack. Let's do it. All right, we'll let this sucker warm up and see if it moves. All right, so it's idling great, it's running fine. Maintenance is gonna be for another video because I do not have enough time. I gotta go cut my grass. So we just yanked it out of hibernation, fixed a quick electrical issue to get it going. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for next one. Signing out.